Hi, my name is Jennifer, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to solve rational equations. So grab a pencil and some paper and work through these problems with me. Let's take a look at our first example. We have 3 plus y over 5 equals y over 2. So remember, a rational expression is simply a fraction, so we're solving equations that have fractions. Now I'm going to show you in this video a really easy way to clear out the fractions so you can just solve this equation like a regular linear equation. In this example, we have two denominators. We have a 5 and a 2. Now, we need to cancel both the 5 and the 2 with the same number. In algebra, you can multiply this equation or subtract or add as long as you are consistent with each term. So in this problem, we're going to think of one number, that the one number could cancel out a 5 and it could cancel out a 2. That number is 10. So what we're going to do, because this is an equation, we have to stay true to this equal sign. So we're going to multiply a 10 to every term in this equation. So we're going to multiply by 10 to this 3. We're going to multiply 10 to the y. And we're going to multiply by 10 to the other y. So here's what we have. We have 30 plus 10y over 5 equals 10y over 2. Next, before we start solving for y, we're going to simplify these fractions. Notice how both of them, 10 over 5 and 10 over 2, simplify to a whole number. We planned it that way to make the problem easier. 10 and the 5 simplify to 2y, so we have 30 plus 2y equals, and the 10 over 2 simplify to 5 over 1, which is 5y. Now we have an equation with no fractions, so it should be a little easier to solve. We're going to solve for y, which means we're going to move everything over to the left side except for our y terms. We're going to subtract 30 from both sides. That leaves us with 2y, because 30 minus 30 is 0, equals 5y minus 30. Next, we're going to take this 5y and subtract it to the other side by 2y minus 5y is negative 3y equals 5y minus 5y, we can cancel. So it equals negative 30. Our last step is to divide both sides by negative 3. Negative 30 divided by negative 3 is positive 10. So the answer to this problem is y equals 10. Okay, let's work through another problem together. We have 3/5 minus 7 over x equals negative 4 over x. We need to solve this equation for x, but before we do, it will be a lot easier if we can clear these fractions out. The method that we're going to take is we're going to choose one number, and we're going to multiply that one number to each of these terms. Now we get to pick that number, and so the easiest number to pick is what would cancel out a 5, and the same number would cancel out an x. For this problem, the number to multiply by would be 5x. So we're going to multiply it the same number to each term because we have to stay true to that equal sign. So here's what our problem will look like. We'll have 3 times 5x over 5 minus 7 over 5x. Sorry. You're going to have to delete that part. I'll pick up with this minus sign. I just said that part wrong. Minus 7 times 5x over x equals negative 4 times 5x over x. Now, before we multiply out the numerator on this problem, let's go ahead and cancel it with the denominator. This 5 can cancel with the denominator 5, leaving a 1 on the bottom, which was our goal to get rid of the fractions. So we're left with 3x minus. This x cancels with the x in the denominator, and we can multiply 7 times 5, which is 35. So we have minus 35 equals, and again, this x in the numerator cancels with the x in the denominator, leaving us with negative 4 times 5, which is negative 20. Great. Now we have no fractions, and now we can solve for x. The first thing we'll do is we'll add 35 to both sides. Over here, minus 35 plus 35 canceled. On this side, negative 20 plus 35 is a positive 15. We bring our 3x. Now we'll divide both sides by 3 to get our final answer. For this problem, x equals positive 5. Okay, let's work through one more problem together. We have 3 over x plus 5 plus 5 over x equals 10 over x. Now right now it looks really complicated with so many fractions, but let's go through the steps of clearing out the fractions so we can solve this problem. Right now we have denominators x plus 5, and we have a denominator of x. So we need to think of one number that could cancel both the x plus 5 and the x. The only thing that can cancel x plus 5 is another x plus 5. The only thing that can cancel out of x is a separate monomial of an x. So what we're going to have to multiply all of our terms by is the expression x times x plus 5. Now the reason we have to put both the x and the x plus 5 is because we need the x plus 5 to cancel this x plus 5. However, the x in this binomial, it cannot cancel with our single x's. So because of that, we have to put an additional x on the outside of x plus 5. And because of the equal sign, we have to multiply by the exact same to all the terms. So our problem will now look something like this. We have 3 times x and x plus 5. I'm going to put my x next to the 3 and still keep my x plus 5 in parentheses. Over x plus 5 plus, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put my 5 in front of the x and keep my x plus 5 in parentheses. Over x. And the same thing with my 10. Over x. Before we multiply through on the numerators, let's go ahead and cancel these fractions out. Our first fraction, we have matching binomials, so we have x plus 5 over x plus 5, which cancel. That leaves us with a 3x. Next, we have an x in the denominator. Now we cannot cancel the x from the binomial. That's why we have the separate x next to the 5. So this x next to the 5 cancels with our denominator, leaving us with 5 times x plus 5. Let's go ahead and do that multiplication problem. If we do 5 times x, that's a 5x. Then if we do 5 times 5 is 25. Equals. Over here we have our single x. It's going to cancel with our other single x. And that leaves us with 10 times x plus 5, which we'll go ahead and do that multiplication to get 10x plus 50. Okay, now we're ready to combine like terms and solve for x. On this side, we have 3x plus 5x, which is 8x, plus 25 equals 10x plus 50. Now we need to get the x terms to the left side and the constants to the right. So I'm going to subtract 10x and bring it to the left side. This will give me a negative 2x, and this cancels. In the same step, I'm also going to subtract 25 on both sides. (25 minus 25 also cancels, and 50 minus 25 is 25. Now we're going to divide both sides by 2, negative 2. And we can leave our answer in fraction format. So our final answer is 25 over negative 2, or we can say negative 25 halves. If you have any other questions about this topic, please contact your professor or stop by the Math Tutoring Lab or watch this video again.